G'day guys, Ralph here. I thought I'd come down for a sunrise shoot as soon as I woke up 2 hours ago, and I haven't been able to get to sleep since. Not much fun, I know. So I'm in Caloundra and on the kind of the point that Kings Beach and I think it's Shelley Beach lead to. This beautiful flat kind of tessellated pavement rock formation that I ventured down onto. So I don't know if you can see this in front. There's these beautiful little puddles that create some wonderful reflection, and then as you look toward the horizon you can see some colour starting to come through. There's a lot of thick low cloud which may be a hassle, but there's some breaks in that which may give us some really exciting light rays when the sun comes up. Show you what I've done here. I'm set up. Here's the camera, and it's pointing at this puddle, which looks really cool like that, right? So I've slightly pointed it down. It's always good when you take landscape images, instead of going bang on horizon to horizon, so your viewfinder horizon to the horizon that's there, to tilt it down or tilt it up. It gives you a slightly unique perspective that can be the difference between an image that's a 5 and an image that's, say, a 7. I'm not expectant of an image above 6 today, just because even though the ceiling of the sky looks amazing, I think it's just going to give this dirty purple, but we will see. And hopefully the audio on this is working. Again, it's the Osmo Pocket, so we're giving it a bit of a crack. I haven't got the other accessories for it yet, but who knows, might come off all right. So we're just going to wait now for the sun to rear its beautiful head. So let me show you how I take one of these shots. I frame it up so my composition's good. As you can see from this, we've got the water down the bottom, which is this rock right in front of me, just here. It's got this nice little pool on it. My actual camera is pointing down so I can catch the lip of the pool right there. And then what I want to do is I need to take a number of exposures, because this, watch this, if I increase the shutter speed, the sky looks better, but the pool gets lost. So what you need to do is I take a shot at a stop, overexposed, to get the pool, and I will focus in on the pool because that's the main subject of this particular shot. And then I'm going to go up the middle ground, and I'm going to put it on bang on 0 on the exposure meter, as you can see just there at the top of the screen. And I'm going to take another shot, and then I'm going to go up to the sky, and I'm going to go down a stop till I'm happy with some of those colours. Might be a bit less than a stop. And then I'm going to take another shot. Now here's what I do. I then put my hand in front of the lens like this, and I take a photo so that I know later on the markers between what's a set of exposures and what isn't. So I did this before these 3 shots, and I'm now going to do it again after. That will mean when it comes to post-processing, I know which 3 shots belong together. Otherwise they can easily morph into just a mess of 1,000 different images, and you don't know where one starts and one stops. I don't know if you've heard of this app called Photo Pills. It's amazing. It does a heap of different really cool stuff, which I've talked about in a video I'll put in the description about Astro, and just link at the top of the screen now. But one of the beautiful things it has is augmented reality, and so basically you can work out where exactly the sun's going to be and when it's going to be there. So at 6:38 the sun's going to break through the horizon just off the point. See the point? So because of that, I know how to frame my shot in anticipation of where it's going to be. So it's called Photo Pills. It's 15 bucks. I think it's $14.99 in the App Store, and well worth a purchase if you're doing any sort of outdoor photography whatsoever, because it has well, watch this. It tells you what time the sun comes up and when the sun goes down and when golden hour is and all that gear. It has, like, you can set your exposure, you can do a planner, so I can work out where I am and where the sun's coming up and where the moon's coming up and all that gear. One of my favorites is the night AR, so it tells you where the Milky Way can be and should be. Sometimes in landscape photography you can make something look really interesting by having a natural or interesting subject stand in your frame, so don't be too discouraged if people stand there. Obviously you don't want a bunch of tourists with cameras, that looks stupid, but someone like a fisherman, or if there are another cameraman here, or if one of my crew were to pose like they like doing, they just like a good pose, they just stand in front of the camera. They spend more time in front of the camera than behind it, if you ask me. Anyway, that would just make it pop. And what you might want to do, if you're thinking down that track, is get someone to wear a red jacket or a yellow jacket or something that contrasts against these colors, draws the eye in. And what I would doing, if I had someone here and we had the time we were mucking about, I might put them sort of on this, where are we? Over here on this point, or maybe over here, or potentially have them stand somewhere mid-frame. We might experiment with that. I probably wouldn't have them bang on center. I'd probably put them to the side, and probably this side, because the light that flows through is flowing through this side. You don't want to obstruct that, and we might hopefully get some nice yellows and pinks in that, including this little pool here. So that's the dream, folks. I thought I'd just talk to you about what settings to use in this sort of arrangement. And what I usually do is I try and put my aperture between 9 and 11. That's the mint spot for most lenses, and as Thomas Heaton would say, that's the preferred range when you're shooting landscape. Just utilizes the quality of the lens as much as possible. With landscape, you shoot with a tripod, so you can choose what aperture you shoot on and then adjust the shutter speed accordingly, because your camera's not moving about. I then always try and shoot with 100 ISO. So you would have seen in that previous video it was 160. It was because it was really dark and we were preparing, but always try and shoot with 100 ISO. And then I adjust the shutter to do that bracketing that I showed you before. So the bracketing is capturing the detail in the shadows as well as not blowing out the highlights. This means it becomes too white and you lose all the detail. So it's balancing those two things. The things you learn on a cold morning in Caloundra, hey? Now here's something you often hear from landscape photographers, but you don't realise when you're just learning, so which is why I'm going to tell you now. The sun is going to come up in front of me, but look what's happening behind me. Can you see that? Look at this. It has this beautiful purple haze over one of these mountains here, and so what I've done is I've just swung the camera around and just nailed this shot. Really happy. Really happy. So don't always look to where you think the action is going to be. Often it surprises you by being elsewhere. The beauty is, of course, you can always then turn your camera around, still get the shot you're after. And I'm loving, I don't know if you can see these like beautiful clouds with the orange like edge to it, and then just like running all along here, and then the sun gradually starting to come through just here. I might put to a landscape orientation and see if I can hone in on some of that. Looks so good. I'm shooting, I don't usually shoot portrait for landscapes, but I was talking to a guy who is a pro travel photographer, and he was saying more stuff, more landscapes. It's a good challenge for you to shoot landscapes in portrait so as to stretch your compositional skills. So kudos to him. This is the current composition I'm looking at. I'll just brighten it up for you a little bit. So we've got the pool here and then the nice clouds. Well, as the sun's slowly come up, and I'll show you what it looks like, I've had to recompose and recompose and recompose. Is this something I'm happy with? I'm still not sure if I'm stoked with it. I don't know how it's going to pull up in post, so I'll show you what I've got. Not a stunning sunrise. You're kind of at the mercy of the elements, but that's okay, because the reason you go out to take a photograph isn't to get the show-stopping image. It isn't to get the moment where the sun is just perfect, the light is spot on, is actually to go out and experience what it is to be outdoors. To exercise your creativity, to hone it with your skill, to learn more, and to be part of a creative process that is ongoing. It doesn't just stop this morning, it goes on and on and on. And that's the beauty of photography. That's why I think everyone should get into photography. So I'm going to leave it here, going to finish watching the sun get completely risen. And if you like this, please subscribe below. We just hit 100 subscribers. That's exciting, isn't it? Yeah. When you start these things, you go, oh my gosh, are we ever going to get anyone going to watch it? But there's been a number of you who have like jumped on and subscribed, and I'm stoked. Like, that is just that you would want to share this with me, that I might be able to impart something to you, and that you would be willing to subscribe and therefore offer me something is just a beautiful exchange. So thank you for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.